Next on BYUSN, should we all view the BYU football ups and downs differently based on strength of opponent, or is that just another excuse?
And Cam Mellor tells us which BYU football players should definitely go to the NFL draft and which should stay in school.
School is cool, my friends. Welcome to BYU Sports Nation, presented by the BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere. Thursday, November 10th. I can't believe we're here, Jarom. We're 10 days into November.
Here in Studio B? Oh, in November?
No, we're 10 days into November.
I was like, we're typically here.
And there are only 3 games left. We think 3 games left in the BYU football season. It just is wild.
There are 3.
Okay, we're here 5 and 5.
What are you saying? Utah Tech going to be left?
No. Oh, yeah. Okay. Hey, technicalities.
We're not the team.
Technicalities.
We're not the same. BYU's winning that game.
I like your optimism, though, that BYU's going to go and beat Utah Tech.
It's not optimistic. It's a fact. On today's show, should we look at the losing streak the BYU football had, which is nice to say, differently based on the quality of some of those teams? We'll discuss. Can't wait for you to say no on social. Cam Mellor from the Pro Football Network tells us about the pro prospects of BYU. We run the gamut with him. BYU men's soccer seeking another national championship. We'll chat with Nate Mumford and Sons and Asher Franks. And the Utah women's volleyball team gets a BYU surprise.
Love those.
But first, here are today's headlines.
BYU linebacker Peyton Wilgar named a Burlsworth Trophy semifinalist. The Burlsworth Award is given annually to the most outstanding college football player in America who began his career as a walk-on. Wilgar is one of just 10 semifinalists. The finalists will be announced on November 15th, and the winner is named on December 5th. I just hope Peyton gets to play another game for BYU, hopefully a bowl game. Speaking of injuries, we're told BYU wide receiver Cody Epps will have surgery today. We've not been told the specifics of his injury. We have seen him in a sling. Those 2 tidbits would suggest it's probably something with the shoulder, but again, that's speculation on my part.
West Coast Conference Soccer Awards are out. Leveni Vaca is the West Coast Conference Defender of the Year. Jamie Shepard, the Midfielder of the Year. First teamers, the 2 aforementioned players, plus Brecken Mozingo, who had a spectacular season. Second teamers, the Livs, Olivia Smith and Olivia Wade. Freshman team, Izzy Stratton and Allie Fryer. Well deserved. The Cougars host Utah Valley in the NCAA tournament Friday, 8 Eastern on ESPN+. Spence on the call and BYU Radio in the first round of the NCAA tournament.
More BYU women's soccer news. They signed 4 prep stars to the future of the program, including Tylee Pratt, a defender from Gilbert, Arizona, Ella Rustin, a defender from Tucson, Arizona, Ellie Ford, a midfielder and forward out of Timpview High School in Provo, Utah, and Hallie Dixon, who is also a mid/forward from Carlsbad, California.
Tonight, Tyler Algier and the Falcons take on Brady Christensen and the Panthers in Thursday Night Football. We're hoping there's more than 20 combined points in the game.
Al Michaels is stoked, as is Kirk Herbstreit. Former BYU women's soccer star Ashley Hatch, as a member of the United States women's national team, will face Germany in a friendly today, 7 Eastern in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. The United States still ranked number 1 in the FIFA World Rankings. Germany number 3 in that same rundown.
Baseball signs 11 players on signing day, including 5 pitchers. Stone Cushing, Matt Fox, Austin Lakem, Maddox Peck, Max Stanley. Outfielders Crew McChesney, brother of Jackson. Walker Sanders, no relation to Barry. Braden Mondeau, Riker Scow, Grayson Schaefer, and Gavin Taylor.
BYU women's volleyball also had a busy signing day. They had 6 to their 2023 class, including Addison Benson, an outside hitter out of Newbury Park, California.
That's Luke's sister on the men's team.
Love that. Selena Damouni, a setter out of Provo, Utah.
Raiders sister.
Brielle Kemivore, blocker out of Bristol, Virginia.
Somebody else's sister.
Mia Lee, another middle blocker from Vineyard, Utah, home of Jason Shepard. Claire Little, an outside hitter from Winchester, California. And Brielle Miller, a libero from Orem, Utah.
Loaded. And here's the thing with women's volleyball. It's always like a top 15 class, so they're legit. Men's tennis signs Caden Hassler, speaking of legit, a 5-star recruit out of Pleasant Grove. Hassler, 24th in the national recruiting rankings from USTA. Won an individual state title, 2 doubles national championships as well.
The signing day fun continues with gymnastics. They signed 3. Maya Kirkham, Brinley Anderson, and Ava Jorgensen. I feel like we should congratulate all these athletes on their hard work to get the right to sign with BYU.
Yeah, welcome to the fam. Notably, men's basketball and men's volleyball did not sign anybody.
Okay. No roster spots? Too many return missionaries?
didn't sign anybody. Well, BYU Sports Nation also did not sign anybody. Just FYI.
Interesting. You know what it's time for? We're not going to sign anybody.
Well, let's not rule it out, but as of now.
We are going to rise and shout. It's time for What's Trending.
What a grab! Touchdown!
5-5 BYU with a much-needed bye week after 10 straight games.
2 years in a row.
10 straight games, 2 years in a row, which was quickly pointed out by Elisa Tuiaki when I brought that up on Coordinator's Corner.
Yep.
Said he's never dealt with anything like that in all of his football playing and coaching career.
And that's over. BYU's not going to have to do that anymore.
Maybe 10 straight factors into our trending discussion today, as does strength of schedule. But a tweet to set the stage. This from @BrettBryce, listener and follower of the program, said BYU just beat a Boise State team that some commentators were projecting as of last week for a New Year's Six bowl game. Liberty beat Arkansas. Notre Dame destroyed Clemson, who was number 4. East Carolina beat number 25 UCF 2 weeks ago, then won at BYU, of course. Oregon is in the top 10. Time for some apologies from some BYU fans.
Brett looks like Zach Hicken, by the way, our friend.
Zach
He
Hicken
looks
with a
like
beard.
Zach, yeah.
Knowing what we know about the BYU opponents and how the schedule is now shaken out.
Oh, we're talking schedule?
Do you, Jarom, master of scheduling, view the 4-game losing streak specifically, like the bottoming out? Do you view that any differently?
More like master of complaining about the scheduling. I do not. I think that BYU still could have won the Notre Dame game, Spence. I know that's a top 20 team now, according to the College Football Playoff, because Notre Dame. There are other 6-3 teams who have bad losses who aren't in that situation. The luster of the gold flex, I guess. Arkansas was winnable if the offense has a few more conversions, defense shows up. ECU is absolutely a winnable game. BYU should have won that game. So, no, I don't apologize for that. There are only 2 games where I just tip the hat and go, there was no way BYU's winning those games.
BYU got their butts kicked collectively.
Oregon and Liberty.
Yes.
Honestly, Liberty, to me, is underrated and undervalued nationally. I think because they're an independent, kind of a new player on the scene. And they'll probably go away a little bit if Hugh Freeze leaves, right? There's some opportunities there for him. But, yeah, no, I don't apologize for that. Obviously, Notre Dame is better than we think, but they still lost to Marshall and Stanford. Marshall's 5-4. Stanford's 3-6. BYU could have and probably should have won that game. Unfortunately, Jaron's hurt, and unfortunately, BYU, as Aaron Roderick pointed out on Coordinator's Corner with you, doesn't have a 3rd or 4th down back that can get a yard right now. The BYU feels confident in. That's disappointing because Chris Brooks, Lopini, Miles, banged up.
Yeah.
But still, I think even if healthy, it's still a concern. So that's an issue. So should have beaten Notre Dame. Not a bad loss, but should have beaten Notre Dame. Again, everyone's screaming at me this is a bad loss. It's not a bad loss. Notre Dame's in the top 20.
Clearly, now people have changed their tune on Notre Dame.
Didn't listen to me.
They're looking more like the team we thought they would originally be.
They are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
This team went into the season ranked number 5. They're starting to look a little bit like that team we thought they would be.
Still should have won that game, I think.
Agreed. The offense was so bad in the first half and still had a shot.
Arkansas could have been a win. Defense has got to show up, not give up 6-44.
Got the ball. You're up 4.
You got to beat ECU.
Rolling.
So I'm saying during those 4, BYU should have gone 2-2. BYU, I would hope, would be 7-3 right now. No worse than 6-4. 5-5 is like worst case scenario. Obviously, you lose all 4. That's worst case scenario right there.
I think what Brett Bryce is getting at specifically is, I can't believe BYU lost to Liberty and East Carolina. Terrible losses. Because they're not these name brand programs. But we're getting way past that stage. Like, I feel like parity in college football is at an all-time high. Parity in college sports is at an all-time high. The difference between, like, if you take away the top 4 college football teams right now, like the top 4 are kind of in a class of their own. But I feel like, 5 and 6, you go down to like 45 to 50. Like ECU could challenge a lot of top 10 teams. And Liberty would give a good game to a ton of top-tier teams.
Yeah, and you know who's not in the top 4 for the first time in the college football playoff
Alabama.
era? And Clemson.
And Clemson.
Like neither of them are in there for the first time.
The margin of error is getting much more thin. and slim when you were trying to differentiate between these programs.
Because certain programs can't just pay and buy these players under the table. It's out in the open with NIL now.
Absolutely.
More.
It's a game changer.
Still
right?
under
the
the
transfer
table,
portal has been a huge factor in impacting teams like Liberty and East Carolina. You look at their rosters, you're like, oh, man, they got some dudes that went to some big-time programs that then decided, it's not for me. I'm not getting much playing time, or for whatever reason, NIL
I thought they all went to A&M.
No, okay. Well, a lot of them have gone to A&M and then transferred on, right?
App State's like, yeah, they're great.
But the transfer portal, NIL, there are a ton of reasons that have now have increased parity in college football. I think it's good for the game. I love it.
Sure.
But it certainly makes winning football games a lot harder for a team like BYU. I think BYU should be 7-3. So I'm with you. I'm not ready to say, oh, man, we need to to apologize. Like BYU, no, I'm not there. Even though BYU had to play 10 straight games, this team is still good enough to be 7-3 with a couple of adjustments.
That's despite all the injuries.
Convert some fourth down plays. Don't be 6 for 21 on fourth down conversions. And BYU's at worst 6-4, if not 7-3, because you're thinking about plays they couldn't convert at critical junctures against ECU and Arkansas alone. Changes those two games right there.
Yes, it does.
Like, it's that fickle. It's crazy. That's why it will drive a sane man crazy.
And BYU converted one of those with Puka Nacua. Don't forget that. Like,
yes.
The positive end of that, where it's like, what if BYU doesn't make? What if they rule against BYU again on the replay? BYU could be in trouble. Let's look at a couple of numbers that kind of tell a story here, okay? Opponent records since playing BYU. Ben Bagley dug this up this morning.
Okay.
Only South Florida, who stinks, they fired Jeff Scott.
By far the worst team on BYU.
Has a losing record since playing BYU. Look at these numbers. Oh, my gosh. Like Oregon, undefeated, amazing, right? Wyoming and Utah State are 3-1 since playing Brigham. Notre Dame's good. Arkansas split. They lost to Liberty at home, by the way. Liberty 1-0, and East Carolina had a bye, and Boise State obviously was the last game.
All these teams are continuing to win after they beat BYU.
We didn't think this overall schedule would be this difficult, but it's been hard, and BYU's been banged up, and so that means BYU's not going to win 9+ games in those seasons. Welcome to the Big 12 schedules, because this is what it's going to be like. You're going to have more ECUs than you think, if you will.
Okay.
In the Big 12.
Can I call an audible here? I'm just going to say the opponent name that BYU has played thus far.
Okay.
And you tell me worse, expected, or better.
Oh, then preseason?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So we'll go chronologically.
This is completely unexpected.
Yes. Okay.
Let's go.
USF.
Worse.
Agreed. They're worse than we thought they would be. Baylor.
Little worse.
Okay. Interesting.
Because I thought
wins both of those games.
I thought they'd compete for a Big 12 title. They're not really in that.
They're 6-3. Still a good team, but a little bit worse.
Yeah.
They're not ranked.
Right.
Okay. Oregon.
Way better.
Wyoming.
Better. Yeah.
Utah State.
Well, remember it said, oh, they lost to Illinois. Blah, blah. Illinois is good.
Yeah. Wyoming 6-3.
Illinois might win the division.
Bowl eligible.
Their division. Big
Okay.
team.
Utah State.
Way worse.
Okay.
Yeah.
Notre Dame.
Notre Dame's a little worse than I thought. I thought Notre Dame would be awesome.
Should probably have won that game.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, when Marshall and Stanford win, I expect you to have a shot there.
Arkansas.
Arkansas is way worse.
So, again, we're getting to worse than expected. There's no apologies necessary here. Like, preseason expectations, based on what we feel still now with these records, we think BYU should be better than 5-5.
Well, and it's not all just them. It's what BYU isn't as well, Spence.
Healthy.
Right? Like when we, we're talking Monday night in the postgame about the Utah State men's basketball game. It was like, well, it's not all just what BYU didn't do. Idaho State did some things. Like KJ Jefferson was good. Rocket Sanders was good in that game. Notre Dame, hey, ran the ball. Drew Pine, better than we thought, or whatever. Michael Mayer, I told you, was maybe the best player he was going to play all year. He was unbelievable. You know what I mean? Like, Boise State thinks the same thing about Puka, by the way, on the other end of that. It happens. Okay.
Liberty and ECU are better than we thought they would be.
Yes.
Boise State's kind of what we thought they would be, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good, but not great.
Like, even.
Yeah. No, I always expect Boise State to be a good team.
So, I mean, 5-5 was like, okay, yeah, it feels like a little bit still, even though the schedule's maybe a little bit more difficult.
7-3 is the hope.
Yes.
We were like playing for 9-ish
BYU,
wins.
even in spite of all the injuries and all the junk that's gone on, we still think they could be 7-3.
Yes. Still disappointing, right? By 2 games, okay? Super ranking composite. So, again, there's 7 popular metrics out there. I just take those and get the average, and it tells me a story about where.
We're talking about Football Power Index, Sagarin rating.
Yes. F+,
Yes.
SPI, all that. Okay.
Bill Connolly's.
Yep. So BYU 64. Just
Middle of
little
the pack.
above.
By definition,
Yeah.
middle of the pack.
Yeah. A little above it. Okay, Notre Dame's 22. That would have been a really good win. Oh, it was a bad loss. No, it's not. Get out of here. Arkansas, 36. Really good team. Good team. Liberty's 62. Metrics don't like Liberty.
Because of strength of schedule outside of BYU, Arkansas, and Wake Forest.
And neither of those teams, well, two of those wins aren't, they're good in perception, but in reality, Arkansas is a really good win. BYU 64.
Okay.
ECU 51. Better than you think, right? So, of those four in the losing streak, BYU could have beat Notre Dame, but it's like Liberty, the metrics tell us, no, BYU should have competed way better with and beat Liberty. I think if they play that game 10 times, BYU's maybe winning once, twice. Like, Liberty was on fire. You also forget the emotional element of this.
My goodness.
Can you imagine BYU for like 20 years, 30 years being like, we want to be like Notre Dame, and then you finally get to play them
You get Notre Dame at home.
Like, this is the thing we can't imagine, playing Notre Dame at home. Because they wouldn't come here, right? We had to go to Vegas.
And Notre Dame's limping
and
in after a couple of losses.
And we happily went there, and then we unhappily didn't win the game, which was disappointing. But, no apologies for – I'd like to apologize, actually, to absolutely no one, as Conor McGregor would say.
Yeah, the schedule, based on what we thought in the preseason, is kind of evening out to what we maybe a little bit more difficult, but not enough to say, BYU should be 5-5.
I love that so much too. The idea of we think one thing and it changes. Yes, we talk up here and we postulate, and that's the fun part of this, is that it does not turn out like you think most often.
All right, our voice of the nation and question of the day is this: knowing what we do now about the BYU opponents in 2022, do you view the 4-game losing streak, the bottoming out for BYU football, do you view that any differently? BYU fan Sam on Twitter says, quote, not much. It's not that BYU lost, it's how BYU lost.
Sure.
So many times BYU just didn't look competitive. Mm-hmm. I'm sure he's referencing Liberty, the first half against Notre Dame.
Yeah.
It does make it sting less knowing that BYU played high-quality opponents, but moral victories don't help much when BYU could have beaten ECU or Notre Dame if they had played well the whole game. Or even for three-quarters of the game.
Not the whole game. You make one more play. You make two more plays. Yes.
25-20. Jaron Hall throws a sideline out to Puka Nacua, who makes that catch 99 out of 100 times. He happens to drop it. I'm telling you, if he catches that ball, BYU's going to take the lead and maybe win that game.
Or Notre Dame ends up going down and tacking on a field goal, right? But BYU goes for it on fourth down, doesn't get it, which has been the story of the season.
Yes.
Unfortunately. And then ECU, when you have we've chronicled what happened.
2 failed fourth down conversions and then a third down that Mason Wake drops.
Yeah. You don't take the 29-yard field goal. Okay, coming up tomorrow night, NCAA tournament action on BYU Radio, 8 Eastern time. BYU taking on Utah Valley in women's soccer. Hey, the Wolverines beat BYU 4-2 in the regular season. Rematch in the tourney.
Vengeance match. Pro Football Network's senior NFL draft director, Cam Mellor, joins us next. We're talking specific players. Is anybody from BYU that's good coming back for the Big 12? He'll tell us. This is BYU Sports Nation.
we have come for our horse.
This horse?
No, you can't drag him! No! No!
You are courageous to have come this far.
We are live at Studio B. This is your day-to-day BYU Sports play-by-play. I am Spencer Linton alongside Jarom Jordan. Now time to bring in one of our longtime show friends. He is Cam Mellor, and he is the NFL Draft Director at Pro Football Network. Cam, BYU football and this season can be summed up pretty much in 2 words: roller coaster. It's been really fun at times for fans, not so much during the 4-game losing streak, but recently a nice win at Boise State. How would you sum up this BYU football season as a whole if it's not roller coaster?
That's the best term for it, right? At this point, you have highs, you have lows, and that's exactly what it is. Peaks, valleys, dips, and then, you get over the cusp at a time here, and then maybe we're there. The win on the Smurf turf is definitely that peak right now. So let's hope that continues to accelerate. But no, a roller coaster is, from the national perspective, that's all you can say it is, really. You can try to put the blame in certain places from the national eye. I'm sure I'd try my best to do such a thing, but no, it's college football, and get there hot and cold week in and week out. It's just been, unfortunately, some 4 weeks in a row. That's cold. It cooled off the national attention, but there's definitely some players that are piquing interest for the next level.
And let's talk about those guys. Let's start with quarterback Jaron Hall. There have been, at the beginning of the season, at least, first-round rumblings. Where does he stand in your mind right now?
He's one of the top senior signal callers or elder statesmen, so to speak. You have Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, and then you get down to the seniors, the guys that we're going to see go to the Shrine Bowl and the Senior Bowl this season, those guys. And you have Hendon Hooker, Bo Nix, Will Levis. And that next class right below it is Jaron Hall. It's Jaron Hall. There's a couple other guys sort of right around that range of Clayton Tune, Aiden O'Connell, Jordan Travis from Florida State as well. So he's right in that range. Right now, I think that plugs him right into that the meat of day 3, early stages of day 3. If he impresses at whatever all-star game he does wind up going to, he can definitely vault himself back into day 2, maybe fringe of that round 3 range right now. But I think that there's still the elite traits that he's answered some questions to around this year.
So to clarify, you still feel like Jaron Hall is an NFL draft quarterback, 4th, 5th round, and his stock is high enough that it would serve him well if he left early and did not come back for his senior year? Is that fair to say?
Yes, unfortunately, right? I'll check, make sure. Yes, he probably needs to go out now, enter the draft, and he'll be graduated, and he'll be on the list for these all-star games, these senior all-star games that he's allowed to go to. I think the 2 biggest questions for him, one of them was age. He was never going to be able to answer that because it's his age. That's what it is. It's the dependability. Can he play every game this year? Can he be a factor in every single game? And right now he's answered that. He's been dinged up, but he's played. He's been Jaron Hall through every game so far this season. And that was probably the biggest knock on his stock for, do you depend on a guy like him? Can he stay healthy for a full 17-game season in the NFL? And right now, so far this year, we've seen it. He's been healthy, and there's been at times some elite flashes. So I do think that absolutely still a guy who can sneak into day 2. But right now, with the quarterback class where it is, he's a day 3, rounds 4 through 7 guy.
And he'll turn 25 in March, so there's the age thing. Puka Nacua is a guy who continues to seemingly make great plays at BYU. What's his NFL stock look like?
This is a prototypical wide receiver 2 or wide receiver 3 in the NFL. There's a stacked class of those guys right now, though, in this draft class and then next year's draft class as well. But very few have what I think Puka's best skill is, and it's this elite sort of wide receiver skill combination that very few also have. There's body control, there's hands. He understands coverage schemes, it seems to, so he knows when he's got a man on him that he's got to flash late hands. He can't tip the defender's knowledge of the route or where the ball is going to be coming to him. So he's got late hands, they call it. And he's got, we saw it last week, right? The insane catch radius, and every ball that's thrown anywhere near him, it's not 50-50 balls. They're more like 75-20 for Puka. And so healthy, we're seeing what he can do. And I think that was another thing that he'll get knocked on this season. It's unfortunate. There's nothing he can do about it, but the injuries, you got to be able to depend on a receiver, especially if you're going to draft them higher. And so again, I think Buka's in that day 3 as well range, but this is a guy who's got elite skills at the catch point and all around his route running ability.
Let's move to the offensive line. Blake Freeland, according to a lot of experts, he was the most draftable guy that BYU had going into the season, with Jaron Hall nipping at his heels. Has he maintained that position? And if not, who is the most draftable guy at BYU right now?
To me, it was always Jaron, but I think the safest pick was going to be Blake Freeland at that point. You can't coach size, as they say, and we all know that Blake's a mountain of a man. And so you can't coach that. And what he's shown this year, and honestly for the past 3 years, is he's nimble on his feet for such a big guy. He's strong as well. And one of the big things that you guys know him well, that I take a lot of my offensive line analysis from, is Eric Mateos. And he said he's got some of the best balance through contact. And what that means is if he gets smashed by a defensive end who's rushing off the edge freely, Blake's not going to lose his balance. And that's rare for a guy his size. And so to me, I still think that Blake is fringe of that round 1 pick. I know we've only got 31 picks this year, but he's secured himself this season with a high draft choice for an NFL team who's going to be needy for a left tackle.
How about Clark Barrington, a guy that's started for a couple of years at left guard?
A mauler of a man, right? This is another guy that if you want somebody who's going to dictate the pace and dictate the line of scrimmage, it's Clark Barrington to me. He's not quite in that day 1, day 2 range for me, because he's run blocking very well, and pass protection, maybe he's got to work on his lateral mobility, left to right and side to side. But again, in balance as well, he's gritty. He's going to dictate the line of scrimmage. He's going to dominate as well. And if you're a run-first team with a zone blocking scheme that gets Clark to be able to move out from his left to right and get on the move to second level hunt and find some linebackers, this is a guy who will be entrenched as a starter for 10 years.
So of the 4 guys we've brought up, you're telling us that it doesn't look good for any of those 4 to come back and play for BYU in year 1 of the Big 12. Is that what we're getting at?
Yeah, I'm sorry to say that we've got to set our sights on someone else here, quarterbacking and catching balls, and then a new entire left side of the offensive line. The NFL draft is going to be calling them very soon.
Cam Mellor is the senior NFL draft director at Pro Football Network. He's on BYU Sports Nation. How about a guy like Isaac Rex, who has elite hands? He was on Mel Kiper's draft board as the 5th most draftable BYU Cougar going into the season, but he hasn't been utilized a ton. Where do you stand with Isaac Rex?
It's the same thing. You look at it for, can a quarterback really account for team wins? No. But are they going to be dinged for it? Yes. Is Isaac Rex accountable for every play on offense? No. But is he going to be dinged for not being used? Yes, absolutely. So you have to look at what he's able to do per play in and play out. He blocks well. Again, a physical guy there, but his best attribute is absolutely those strong hands and his size. If you can't coach size, again, it applies to tight ends as well. So to me, probably the lack of top end athleticism in terms of speed to be able to separate from some of these linebackers in the NFL that are going to be running 4.4s, that'll probably hurt him a little bit. He's in that range of the day 3 late flyer for a team that needs a tight end 3 and a big old red zone threat. That's what he is at the next level.
You've been really high on Peyton Wilgar for several years. Earlier in the season, not playing his best ball, but also hampered by injuries. What have you seen of Peyton Wilgar this season?
It's more of the same. He's a dominant athlete when he's on the field, better man off the field, so that's never going to change as well. He will win the hearts of GMs. I don't have to tell you guys and the viewers and fans of the show as well. But to me, the injuries are going to hurt him and probably make him an undrafted free agent, but he will be a priority free agent. This is the guy who, in healthy, is a 3-down NFL linebacker. The coverage is incredibly well. The run fits that he's able to do, his instincts as well, and just his nose for the football. I mean, this is a kid who knows football, breathes football, loves football, and you can tell it with the way he plays. The instincts are off the charts. So to me, priority free agent who will make an NFL roster most likely, and will have the fans and the beat reporters of that NFL team saying, hey, who's this guy? Who's this guy who keeps making plays and flashes in camp?
Okay, so with probably 5 of the 6, if not all 6 of those guys now seeking to move on and take that step, BYU moves into the Big 12. Huge question at quarterback following Jaron Hall. Certainly losing Puka Nacua hurts. Does BYU have the horses to compete in a much more difficult Big 12 conference next year?
I hate to say it, but right now it does not quite look like they can compete. They'll win some games. They'll make some games competitive, but until we have more of those answers about who's going to be quarterbacking, how well that quarterback situation will be, and then how big this recruiting class coming in, and then the last few recruiting classes can be made ready so to speak. There's a lot of shoes to fill, and there's a lot of 4- and 5-star kids that they're going to be going up against that have top-tier elite coaching staffs that have made them better, even from their high school days. And so I think that's the biggest difference from playing in as big of a gauntlet or as much of a gauntlet as BYU's out-of-conference independent schedule has been with Power 5 schools. It's every game, every week, essentially, once you reach that Big 12 schedule. So to me right now, on the surface, 4-game losing streak and how they've been able to lose them and stay competitive, they will keep those games competitive in the Big 12. But right now we need to see a little bit more of the get your freshmen and get your younger players ready to play before we can compete too well in the Big 12.
Hello, transfer quarterback is probably what BYU is looking at in the competition with Conover and Finnegan, of course. I did want to ask you about Max Tooley. Is he an NFL linebacker? He's had 2 pick sixes and a nice season when healthy, but again, another injured guy.
Yeah, I think if coverage is king in the NFL right now, teams are going to be needing more. Passing is king, coverage becomes queen, essentially, but king on your defense. I stand firmly on the pass rush versus coverage argument every offseason. The coverage is king on defenses. And so to have linebackers and a guy that you can drop down into the flats and be able to cover NFL running backs and tight ends, that's where Tooley is right there. So I think right now, again, probably another undrafted guy, but a priority guy who comes in sub packages, dime packages, and is able to sort of take away the flats and take away the middle of the field and underneath routes. So he needs a good situation, but he has put himself firmly on the map for the NFL draft and as a priority free agent.
All right, Cam, while we're making projections in this hypothetical realm that we're conversing in, if it's not Max Tooley, who is the best BYU player that will be back or should be back next year? Maybe it's Kingsley Suamataia, maybe it's Connor Pay. Who's the guy that's the best player for BYU that you think for sure is going to be back next year?
So correct me if I'm wrong. Keenan Peely, is he coming back right now? If you have to say yes or no, is he?
He has eligibility. He has eligibility, but maybe are you saying he should come back? Do you think it would help him if he did come back?
It would help him very much so if he came back, and I think he's the best player, and he becomes a potential guy who could sneak into first-round ability. I liken him to Jalen Petrie from Baylor last year, who, if you plug him in closer to the line of scrimmage and allow him to play freely, so to speak, sort of off the edge, let him blitz if he wants to, but let him drop down and take tight ends and running backs in coverage. I think he's got that ability of almost like a box safety who, not quite Derwin James, but Jalen Petrie's more of that impact that I think he can have. So I think Keenan Peely has this all-around elite ability that I think seeing more of him and seeing him healthy and seeing him for sort of a featured role on defense could make his draft stock soar next year.
That's interesting because Peely was safety in high school, backer at BYU. Certainly got to get that knee going post-ACL. Hasn't been quite the same, but I like that. That's interesting.
Yeah, we're clipping that off and sending it towards Keenan probably at some point.
Come back, Keenan.
Please, Keenan. Come back.
You're off the ACL. Let's go, baby.
Big 12 play, it's a way to put your staple on, right? You're already going into Jalen Petrie's conference, so to speak.
Yep.
And so go do it and make a name for yourself. You can do so.
Hey, Cam, we appreciate the time. It's always great to catch up with you and for the great insight into all of these NFL hopefuls at BYU. Here's to BYU getting bowl eligible against Utah Tech.
Here we go. That's all we need right now at this point, right? Cement the bowl game and ride high.
I knew it, Cam. I knew it. You said we. I love it.
Don't show those in Salt Lake City, please.
You got it. Thanks, Cam.
I think Cam gets it, right? Jalen Petrie, interesting. Baylor guy, right? Texans, really good rookie right now. Keenan's got to be a lot faster to be at the Petrie level. But maybe a year off the ACL, he discovers that in the offseason. Should he stay at BYU? We'll see. Yeah,
it's an interesting conversation that when you delve into the guys we think will be back for BYU next year.
And we're going to find out next week, like, who wants to be honored on Senior Day. It doesn't mean they don't have to, leave. They could come back.
But just in case.
But just in case, yeah, which is probably a guy's name out there.
The junior/senior day.
Hi, I'm Justin, just in case. 18th ranked BYU women's volleyball is riding a 5-game win streak. It was 4 and then suddenly it became 5. They welcome former BYU men's player turned St. Mary's women's coach Rob Browning back to the Smith Fieldhouse Saturday 3 Eastern on BYU TV.
And which of the former Cougars playing professional football will directly impact the scoreboard tonight? It's Thursday. Football's back. This is BYU Sports Nation.
And football.
BYU Sports Nation is presented by The BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere.
If you're looking to build your brand awareness and increase market share as BYU moves into the Big 12, this is the place, BYU Athletics. We can provide the tools you need to make sure your company is seen and heard. BYU Athletics is where you can align your products and services with loyal fans that cheer for our Cougars. And they can also help your business win. Learn more about what a partnership with BYU Athletics and your company will look like. After all, this is the place. Email sponsorship at byu.edu today.
They prefer to be bringing the heat, getting set for success, demonstrating their drive. But when their blood and sweat turns to tears or anything else, we lay the groundwork for BYU's athletes to hit the ground running again, and you as well. Intermountain Healthcare, official medical provider for BYU Athletics.
Turn TV time into together time with the BYU TV app. Watch all your favorite shows when, where, and how you want.
This isn't like a practical joke, is it?
No, sir. Immerse yourself in stories with all the feels. Go on uninterrupted journeys of discovery and see families coming together while watching with your own. See new and original content, all for free on the BYU TV app.
Make sure to follow us on the social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and the TikTok. We know there are emerging social media platforms. We will look into those and perhaps add them to the cadre of following accounts.
We got you covered. This is BYU Sports Nation. He is Jarom and Spencer. Let's whip it. Cougar Whip Around presented by Maris, your e-commerce logistics shipping partner.
And media availability yesterday, Mark Pope was asked about Gonzaga possibly joining the Big 12. Roll it.
Add the Zags and add the Celtics. I mean, why not? Like, how can we make this league any better? Like, it's ridiculous. But I love, I mean, listen, this is what we signed up for. So why not make it the best league in the world by 100 times? It's only 50 times better than every other league. So I'm all for it.
Breaking news, he thinks it's 50 times better than every other league. Would the Big 12 be harder with the Celtics?
Yes, clearly. That's 2 more guaranteed losses for every team, probably. Yeah. Maybe the Celtics start only their bottom 5 players against Baylor, but even then the Celtics probably still win that game.
Win the league.
Yes.
Yeah.
Clearly.
I said I'm not necessarily in favor of it when the report came out because I would like BYU to at least approximate the NCAA tournament by going 7-11 one year, but you got to win most, if not all, the non-con.
So the Big 12 is to college basketball what the SEC is to college football. And the SEC is adding Texas and Oklahoma. Adding Gonzaga would be that type of move.
I would argue the Big 12 is better in basketball than the SEC is in football.
Sure.
Because you have a bigger tournament, and so we can sort of assess that better.
Okay. Jimmer Fredette, speaking of basketball, high-level elite players, told us yesterday his current goal is to compete in the 2024 Olympic Games in Paris in 3-on-3 basketball. Very cool. Where would winning an Olympic medal rank among Jimmer's basketball accolades if he gets to that point?
Hold up. The U.S. didn't even qualify for the last Olympics in 3-on-3. So the U.S. has to qualify, and Jimmer has to make said team.
Correct.
And they have to win the gold. There's a lot that has to happen.
Yes, so if that happens.
I would think that'd be his greatest accomplishment. A gold medal in the Olympics?
Medal. Better than winning the
Mountain West? Better than winning the Player of the Year? No, Player of the Year in the NCAA is pretty cool. That's probably it. But a gold medal in the Olympics, regardless of how it comes, that's pretty sweet, man.
Just the appeal of Jimmer Fredette competing for Team USA.
Yeah, that's cool.
It would make the Olympics so compelling for BYU fans.
A lot has to happen there, as I just pointed out,
yes.
though.
Oh,
it's
no question.
Not a given that they even make the Olympics.
Yeah, you've got to accumulate enough points as a team and accumulate enough points as a player to make the team if you qualify for the Olympics.
Yeah, that was interesting. Okay, who's more likely to score tonight? Ashley Hatch with the USA women's soccer team against Germany, or Tyler Algier with the Falcons against the Panthers?
Well, the way that Ashley was scoring early in the season for the United States women's national team, I'd say her. But right now, it's Tyler Algier has kind of swung the pendulum swung toward him. He's going to be more involved. Even with Cordero Patterson, he had a nice game.
Yeah.
They're still
Patterson's back, I think.
They're still utilizing him a lot. So Tyler Algier is more likely tonight.
I agree. Although it'd be fun if both did. That'd be sweet.
Let's go.
That's sweet.
In lieu of the BYU Pacific four-footed women's volleyball match tonight, the Cougars have opted to do an eat and greet, Jarom.
I get it.
Should there be more eat and greets with all BYU teams?
I would happily forfeit hunger to go to more eat and greets with the teams.
Are the teams paying for the food at the meet and greet?
Of all the food? Or just food for the team? Oh, yeah. Nice. Nice.
That me.
You're giving 10% already, looking for a little something?
I'm just saying.
Plus a generous pass offer?
Just saying.
Okay, Lauren Gustin, new head coach Amber Whiting, and the BYU women's basketball team are back in the Marriott Center for the home opener Saturday, 4 Eastern, taking on Montana State on the BYU TV app. Up next.
Speaking of soccer, how about a couple of men's soccer players? Nate Mumford and Asher Franks will join us to preview nationals. This is BYU Sports Nation.
I'll wait for you.
This portion of BYU Sports Nation is presented by Maersk, your e-commerce logistics shipping partner.
Football in Utah is all about the rivalries.
Red. Ooh, quarterback. Wide out. Rewards. Wait, what?
My style, checking rewards.
My style, right.
For Mountain America's My Style Checking, it's all about the benefits.
Loan discounts.
But it's hard to pick a favorite.
No. Mobile phone protection. Telehealth. You're going to need that when we're done. I heard that. Let's go.
Get the account rivaled by no one. My Style Checking from Mountain America.
Utah is a special place. Our communities, the people, the history. There is no place quite like Utah. At Siegfried and Jensen, we're honored to say that we are from Utah. We live here, work here, and when someone is injured, we're proud to say we've helped a neighbor when they've needed it most. We know Utah. At Siegfried and Jensen, we're here for you.
Learn more at siegfriedandjensen.com.
Introducing the Truck for Adventure. The all-new 2022 Nissan Frontier doesn't compromise on power or comfort. This midsize truck was redesigned to incorporate the latest technology and designs for safety, comfort, and convenience. Plus, with up to 6,700 pounds of towing capacity and best-in-class horsepower, it's rugged enough for adventure and still safe enough to transport all your favorite people. Where's your new Frontier? You'll find it at Tim Dowling Nissan Southtown and South Jordan.
I was 4 years old when I left Zambia. My dad was born in Sheila, in the south of Italy.
My mom is from Slovakia. We haven't really talked about it, never, not once.
My dad doesn't really talk about his life in Serbia. I just really want to know who he is. And then discover who am I.
Welcome back to BYU Sports Nation live in Studio B. I'm Spencer Linton, teamed up with Jarom Jordan.
Blue Pants Day.
It is a Blue Pants Day for sure.
Although I need some bright royals like that.
Come on, I've got two pair. Okay, for those wondering.
You gonna share?
Man, where'd you get those blue pants? You always got them. I got two pair. Okay.
Of course you do.
And like 3 pairs of white pants. It's how I roll, man.
I only have 1 pair of white pants, but I only wear them somewhere else. Yeah. Anyway.
Nice. Well, we welcome in now. And it's not often we have 4 of us together here in the Cougar Council room.
Nice.
But we do here with BYU men's soccer standouts Nate Mumford and Asher Franks. Welcome to BYU Sports Nation.
Thanks, guys. It's great to be here.
Hey, slick-looking hoodie zips right now.
Thanks.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, also,
I would say the same for you, but I think that's BYU women's soccer.
It is, but I wanted to rep because, hey, Brandon needs some men's gear.
Jerem's pointing this out. This is a subtle, not so subtle play to be like, hey, I'd really like that jacket.
Oh, okay.
We'll have to see if we can
talk to Brandon.
hook you up or something.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, now that we've got that out of the way, okay, let's talk about a huge upcoming week for you as you head to nationals. And for those that aren't aware, BYU men's soccer, wins national championships at the club level consistently.
Yeah. Yes.
And
dominating fashion,
I kind of feel bad that we kind of just expect you to dominate again. But how are you two approaching this, another run at nationals, another national title? And let's start with Asher.
Okay, yeah. For me, this is something that we expect to do every year, and there is kind of that pressure. We are a club team, but we are one of the best club teams in the nation, and so there's that pressure to push for it, national championship every year sort of thing. And, preparing for it. It's just been super fun. We love it. It's competitive at that level. Sure, it might not be as competitive when we're playing in our region play, but once we go to nationals, it gets super competitive, and it's super fun, and we love it. So it's something we look forward to every year. It's like the crowning moment for BYU men's soccer.
And luckily, you have a ton of time to rest between games. No, you don't. You play like 2 games a day. It's crazy. So, Nate, tell us about kind of the format in Round Rock, Texas.
Yeah, so typically you'll play your first game at like 8 a.m. or so. Then you go home, go back to the hotel, rest. Next game, 4 p.m. afternoonish. If you advance out of your grouping, you'll then play the round of 16 and the quarterfinals the next day. So that's 4 games in 2 days. And then if you proceed to go to the championship, you play semis and the final the next day. So
6 and 3.
6 and 3.
6 games, 3.
Wow. Are there orange slices in between games?
I wish they had juice boxes too. But.
How do you manage that physically? Do you have the depth to sustain that, or is it like, hey, starters, you got to go the distance with a couple subs?
I would say our team specifically has the greatest depth in the nation. That way we can continue to sub our players, keep them fresh. And gratefully, we have resources of like compression boots and like ice baths. And so those are kind of things that we do in between games, and like massage guns and stuff to keep our bodies at peak level.
Wow.
But we are often interchanging our team. So we have a great group of guys, 24, 25 on the roster, and we're constantly subbing, making changes, and there's not a lot of drop when someone subs in, so it's nice.
What are the sub rules? I should know. It's not FIFA then, I take it?
It's not FIFA,
okay.
It is.
Is it like NCAA style?
Just unlimited subbing.
Just unlimited subbing? Okay. Yep. You can maintain the depth that way then.
Absolutely.
That's nice. Okay.
Who's your rival in this scenario of NCAA men's club soccer? And both of you can answer.
You still play Utah.
Yeah.
Utah has one, but you guys.
So who's your main rival?
That's a tough question because, you know, it varies so much season to season and year to year. I'd say probably just with proximity, UVU. For me, honestly, those games.
And they have a club team as well as the D1 team.
As well as the men's team, yep. They always give us a good game, and I always look forward to playing against them. I think they're a pretty good team, and
the women's team agrees. Yeah. They're going to play tomorrow in the NCAA tournament, right?
Definitely.
The same for you, Asher, with Utah Valley?
In our region, I would also say probably UVU, just because it's fun and chippy game, and we get into it, and they love the passion of trying to get that win as well. And so I would say UVU.
Okay.
But on a national level,
yeah.
Last year and years before, I would say Michigan has been a big team that has been like their main focus is beating BYU. Honestly. And
interesting.
Yeah, except for they're not in it this year, actually, in the national tournament.
Okay.
So.
Well, that's too bad.
Well, let me follow it up with this. Who's the toughest competition of the 24 teams that are going to this national tournament?
I would have agreed with Asher that it would have been Michigan. Illinois actually knocked Michigan out in their regional play. So we'll be lined up to play against them in the quarterfinals. So I'd say Illinois is going to be a tough game. Honestly, every game at Nationals is a dogfight.
Yeah.
It's brutal. It's a lot of fun, but it's grueling.
I've been following the program for a long time, to the point where I was calling the games in the PDL, and I was sideline reporter and the play-by-play. I was even the sports information director back in the day. Like, it's been awesome. So the PDL, Premier Development League, which Ethan Horvath, probably the starting keeper for the U.S. in the World Cup, played in the PDL, which is crazy. It's like the 4th tier. Anyway, it was too hard. But there was this middle ground because you guys are in this. You're not D1. You'd love to be, certainly.
Absolutely.
I would love for you to be one day. Perhaps the Big 12 money with admin soccer. Just a ploy out there, Tom.
Look into it.
Add beach women's volleyball and men's soccer. I don't know if that logistically lines up. But anyway, you're in this weird space where it's like, I don't want to say it's too easy to win the national championship. It's a challenge, but sometimes the score is like 7-0. I go, what do we do with men's soccer here? Because PDL was too hard. You're not D1, but you're doing the best you can in this space. What do you guys think?
In my personal opinion, I think we can just do everything that we can to push ourselves to be D1.
What can you do?
Continue to be successful in the club division that we're in. That's why we push so hard every year, is to kind of prove ourselves. Say, hey, look at the results we're putting up. Look what we're doing at the national level in the club division. And even though people might look at that and say it's club, it's not NCAA, that's not the real competition. We go out and we still play NCAA teams in our spring season because we have the opportunity.
You'll play the D1 teams.
Yeah.
We have opportunities to play D1 teams in the spring season.
How do you do?
And last year we went 1-1 against D1 teams. So we beat UNLV, and then we lost to Denver. And Denver's like a top 10 team right now.
Yeah, they're
very good.
Currently ranked number 10, I believe.
Wow.
D1.
So not just any Division I team.
No, a fantastic Division I.
And on the field, you got to be competitive, absolutely. It's probably more off the field stuff, is it not?
It really is.
Like men's soccer would have to, BYU would choose to have to add. In fact, BYU hasn't added any for a long time. took away wrestling and men's gymnastics, 22 years ago or 21. So, yeah, who knows? But in the meantime, which is life, you got to just do what you can with what you got, right?
Yeah.
So now you have this tournament, and you hope to win it again.
Hope to win it again.
All the while, I mean, you're paying your way through school. You love the sport so much that you're just figuring it out.
No schollies, right?
What is life like for you playing for a high-level club team with no scholarships? Nate, we'll start with you.
Yeah, it's a great question. It honestly makes life really busy. I'm a neuroscience major as well, taking 15 really hard STEM credits.
That sounds super easy.
Yeah, no.
It's easy.
So it definitely adds, a challenge. You really have to manage your time well, but one of the things I love most about the team is every guy that plays signs up doing it knowing they won't get a scholarship.
Yeah.
They do it because they love soccer. So it creates a really, really fun, really competitive, really positive atmosphere around the team. The team culture is fantastic. Just because everyone there signs up to do it because they love it, not because they're, being paid to do it or because they feel like they need to.
What's life like for you?
I would say the same as Nate, almost. It's busy with school and soccer, just as normal athletes are, but then you also don't get the benefits of nutritional plans and stuff, getting that tuition paid for, so you have to find your money elsewhere. And so it is just a busy schedule, and it is just mostly based on passion of the game, love of the game. And for our team, I'd say we have a great passion because we do push, even though it's busy, it's time-consuming. We have had some players who have I just can't anymore with classes, and sometimes we even have players who have to miss practices because there's only classes that they have to take during our practice time. And we get that, but there's such a passion and a love for the game that we find a way to do it, even though it's a busy schedule.
Wow, it's always those neuroscience majors that have to miss practice,
pre-dental,
right?
by the way.
Actually, yeah.
It really is on
Wednesdays.
Wednesdays. Bye. And we're getting out of the group stage in the World Cup, are we not?
We
in
are.
the USA. Yes.
Let's go.
We're going to do
Absolutely.
it.
We're going to upset England.
Yep.
We'll beat Iran, and I think
we'll beat Wales.
will beat us.
Yeah.
But
Gareth Bale's last goal scored will have been in the MLS.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's a nice
Not
goal.
in the World
That's what we're
Cup.
hoping for.
It's a nice one, right? Yeah.
Hey, let's give you some BYU Sports Nation karma. I don't know if you know how that works. You come on the show, you get some karma, you play at a high level, so we can't wait for you to be awesome.
Heck yeah, thank you.
Good luck in Round Rock. Thanks for coming in, guys.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, absolutely.
You got it. What a sacrifice by these guys.
I know. No, I love men's soccer. Been following these guys
Incredible
for a long time.
stuff.
Okay, BYUSN.com is your home for all BYU TV sports, games, shows, deep blues. Check it out, BYUSN.com.
Up next, to rise and shout out to some straight rivalry disrespect. We are here for it. Go Cougs. This is BYU Sports Nation.
It's so good.
BYU Sports Nation is presented by the BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere.
Trio Orem Senior Living believes in empowering seniors to live life to the fullest. We help eliminate stress out of daily life when you live at Trio. Less time focusing on housework means you can socialize at one of our many events, with safety in mind, of course. And did we mention our spacious apartments with modern amenities? Learn more about setting up a private tour at trioorem.com.
Before I was a coach at BYU, or before I was even a player, I was a BYU fan.
We've got great energy as a team, but we have even better energy because of our fans, and it's absolutely magical.
When you hear the crowd roar, that makes it more exciting, more of an adrenaline rush.
The roar of the crowd, you can feel it on the floor, you can feel that energy, and it's unlike anywhere else in the country.
BYU Sports, it's all about the fans.
Let's kick off AFR on BYU TV.
What they did in that fourth quarter was not unexpected in my book.
Everyone did their job perfectly, and it resulted in, obviously, a touchdown.
Who knew that he had these kind of hands?
And right at the snap of the football, they both go right downhill. And that was the end of that. He knocked him down pretty quickly.
This portion of BYU Sports Nation is presented by Mountain America, the official credit union of BYU Athletics.
This program's on demand. Download the free BYU TV or BYU Radio app. Subscribe, rate, and review the podcast as well.
Go back to our question of the day. Knowing what we all know about BYU's opponents this season, do you view the 4-game losing streak any differently?
No.
Not really. Just frustration that BYU could have won some games that they didn't win, right?
Yeah.
Our elite voice of the day presented by PAX Healthcare Elevated comes in from Andrew Potter on Twitter, who says, quote, yes, I view it differently, but only slightly. Are these teams better than we all thought? Yes, in some cases, as we pointed out.
Yeah.
But we should have still at least split those 4 losses.
Amen.
Right?
That was
That's exactly what you said.
Well, as we call in the biz, the A block incarnate there.
BYU's lack of discipline in those games and execution lost those games. Like, you could have gone 2-2 in the 4 losses. I mean, just a few plays.
Sitting here 7-3. We're not overly hurt. You're still playing for 10.
Still pushing for 10 and feeling good about getting to 10 because you got Utah Tech and Stanford. It's like, okay, you're going to have 9.
Yeah.
Win a bowl game, you get
losing 4 in a row, never in the cards, right?
Nope.
Even in the Big 12, I don't expect BYU to lose 4 in a row.
Yeah, hopefully there's none of that bottoming out where you just can't get over the hump.
No, if you expect to lose 4 in a row, you stink.
Aye, aye, aye.
We won't expect that ever here.
Today's Rise and Shout-Outs presented by Mountain America.
This is awesome.
The official credit union of BYU Athletics. Tweet in from @ChuckBUte, who says, fire the bus company. And that's because Utah's volleyball team has a Cougs bus. A Cougs bus.
Shout out to that company.
Show up to transport them where they're going.
Okay, conspiracy theory. It was Mark Pope. Because Chris Burgess left to go to Utah. His daughter plays for Utah women's volleyball. Conspiracy theory is that Mark Pope connected that. I'm just kidding. But that's super funny.
I love it. Just and the TikTok just says holy disrespect.
Holy disrespect.
Oh,
you love to see it. You really
not
do.
Wanting to get on that hype bus.
Dude, can you imagine just a Ute bus rolling up to the Smithfield house? Heather Olmstead would not get on that bus.
We're not getting on that bus.
There's no way.
Really funny. Thanks to today's guests, Cam Mellor, Nate Mumford, and Asher Franks.
Sorry to Dennis Pitta. We ran out of time.
For Jarom Jordan, I'm Spencer Linton. Shout out to Chris Watkins in the, thinking of BYU men's soccer.
Yep.
See you tomorrow on BYU Sports Station. Go Cougs. Fire the bus company.